Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
It's time for amnesty. It's time for politicians who can't seem to admit that they were wrong to at least quit punishing peaceful people and finally do the right thing. It's time to drop the lockdown tickets. We need to send a message to the politicians to push them in the right direction, but we need your help to do it. Alberta ended our vaccine passport system here the night of February 8th. Most dining restrictions ended then too. The mask mandate ended at the end of February. There are no real gathering restrictions left. And laid off healthcare workers who would not divulge their vaccination status are suddenly being told that maybe they can come back to work. I'm filming this on Monday, March 21st, and the vaccine passport is gone in Ontario. The mask mandate, it falls today. Saskatchewan ended their Vax Pass and mask mandate too. Other provinces are following suit. Quebec, one of the worst places to be anti-COVID mandate in the entire country, a place that once had COVID curfews, well, it's dropped the vaccine passport there. Even the federal government is considering moving from a position of vaccine requirement to a position of vaccine recommendation for federal employees and employees in federally regulated industries. Let me say thank you, truckers, for your convoy against mandates. Thank you for going to Ottawa for over 3 weeks and putting everything, your livelihoods, your safety, your finances, and your freedom on the line to bring an end to COVID restrictions. This was on you. You pushed governments to end these restrictions. But the government, well, they've still not done the right thing by all the little people and the normals who tried to live freely like it was the before times. Those people were brutally punished. They were fined, sometimes arrested, sometimes worse. Pastors were arrested on the streets or in front of their kids for the crime of doing what is completely legal now. They didn't limit their churches or religious practices to conform with the new normal of social distancing, attendance limits, and masks. Pastor James Coates was held for 35 days in a high-security jail. Tim Stevens was arrested for weeks in Calgary. Art Pawlowski was arrested 5 times, and as I filmed this, well, he's still in jail, held on numerous charges, including breaching conditions from breaching a previous health services court order that restricted his church. Art was also ticketed repeatedly for feeding the homeless, what the government called at the time an illegal public gathering during the COVID scare. Church in the Vine in Edmonton was issued thousands of dollars in fines and penalties for not allowing services to be interrupted by inspectors. They still face obstruction charges for doing things that are perfectly legal now, for keeping worship sacred and apart from the state. Business owners were ticketed and arrested for doing things that, again, are completely legal now. They opened their dining rooms. There was Mom's Diner, who was getting a ticket as I rolled up to interview them. Carlos at the Noble Fox restaurant, same thing. Getting an inspection that would lead to tickets as I showed up. Wild Archery in Edmonton, harassed and ticketed by bylaw and health cops. And Chris Scott of the Whistle Stop, ticketed, business chained up and seized. And then he was arrested and held for 3 days for protesting what the government was doing to him and other businesses here in Alberta. Normal people from all across the country were issued fines and fees ranging from hundreds to several thousands of dollars for all sorts of things that are not illegal now, like not wearing masks at the grocery store, having a birthday party, walking out after curfew, opening their businesses to customers in a desperate act of financial survival. Again, these are all things they could do before and can do now, but they still face harassment, long court battles, and potential findings of adverse judgments against them. At Rebel News, we're doing all that we can to help through an initiative called FightTheFines.com. It's a partnership with the registered Canadian charity, the Democracy Fund, to crowdfund and connect these so-called COVID scofflaws, just normal people living their lives normally, with top-notch criminal and civil litigators at no cost to them to fight their lockdown tickets in court. But more can be done. Why are these people still being punished by the state for doing something that is not illegal now? Why do they still face legal fights and fines? In Quebec, the opposition Conservative Party has introduced a bill to end the prosecution of COVID infractions. They have 50,000 of these sorts of fines in Quebec alone. But what about the Conservative premiers in other provinces? You know, the people with the real power to do something about these fines? Where are the Conservative premiers of Ontario, Saskatchewan, Alberta, PEI, Nova Scotia, Manitoba, and New Brunswick? Fellows, Are you there? Now, there's no reason to continue to punish and persecute people for their COVID violations, which are no longer violations. There's no need to do this in the name of public health. None of these people were the overseers of super spreader events the way government control freaks and unelected public health bureaucrats predicted them to be. None of the continued enforcement makes any sense at all, except if we consider these people are not being punished in the interest of public health at all, but rather because they could not be controlled, because they honored something above the government. Maybe it was freedom, maybe it was God, maybe it was one because of the other. It doesn't really matter which. What matters is the fines. These legal proceedings where the process is also the punishment, well, it's vindictive and unfair, and it should end now. And I need your help to send the politicians a message. I have a petition for amnesty for anyone who received a lockdown ticket. What is the rationale for pursuing those tickets now, some of which are 2 years old, other than vengeance and money? Go to dropthetickets.com and sign our petition. It's a master petition for the entire country, but we will deliver a copy of it to the Justice Minister in every province and territory. Add your voice to the list of Canadians demanding an end to the punitive treatment of pastors, small business owners, families, and peaceful people who refuse to fall in line with the rules when the rules just didn't make any sense. Please go to dropthetickets.com, sign and share, and we'll do the rest. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. There is absolutely no reason anymore, as if there ever was, for provinces and municipalities to pursue peaceful people who simply just tried to live their lives or keep their business afloat with ridiculous COVID fines. It's time for amnesty. If you'd like to add your name to the growing list of people calling for an end to enforcement of COVID fines, please go to dropthetickets.com.